asked to say a few words about Mum for her 80th birthday. Mum goes by many names. Maureen, Tony, Auntie Tone, Tone Loke, Mrs. Docs, Nanny Doc, Nanny. Quite a few aliases. It's hard to know where to start, so I guess at the beginning. Married to Hugh or Jock, and I understand he's with the aliases. They have 6 children, Anthony, Andrea, Justin, Paul, myself and Laura. After originally living in Airport West at the start of their married life, they quickly realised when baby 5, me, was coming, they would need more room. So they moved to the family home of 256 Buckley Street, Ascot, where they spent most of their married life. Mum was the heart and soul of the family and the ultimate housewife. From the endless loads of washing, cooking for 8, preparing lunches, and the ongoing upkeep of the house. Mum is always very generous to everyone around her. From all accounts, she was very much like her mother and did anything for her kids. She told me a story about Dad the other day, in which she went to WA for a few weeks. When she got back, Dad was there. She asked her mum, what was he doing there? And she said, someone's got to look after him. Dad was living with a couple of guys, and as you can imagine, not really looking after himself. So Nana took it upon herself to organise Dad to move in with an old lady in Essendon who cooked and cleaned for him, made his lunches, etc. Nana must have had a soft spot for the immigrants. Dad and Max. And Mum has the same relationship with her refugee son, Magnus. Sometimes thinks she likes him more than her own kids. Singing, calls him for odd jobs. Many I think she creates just to see him. So Magnus would go around, fix what she wanted, and come home with food and for dinner and lunches for the week. But that is Mum, and she loves doing it, as she knew Andrew was not the greatest cook, and wanted to make sure Magnus was fed properly. Mum was pretty religious back in the day, not so much now. And we went to church every Sunday, she went to church every Sunday, family in tow. Her faith was something that guided the way she lives her life. She would help at schools, footy clubs, and many other community places. She has a heart of gold and is always there to help anyone out. We used to have an old lady, Marge, who lived next door, who used to come to dinner every Monday night. She later moved around the corner, so on Mondays, Mum would make Anthony go and get her. Marge was not very mobile and had a walking frame. Anthony would always get Mum to call her and tell her to start walking to the door. We had a lot of fun at the dinner table with Marge. She was hard of hearing, and we would always be making funny, smart comments that we knew Marge could not hear. And we would all be laughing at the dinner table, and Marge sat there and laughed along with us, unbeknownst to her, that we were laughing at her. Mum could see how much Marge appreciated having a family dinner, and again shows Mum's compassion for others. One part of the Catholic faith that us kids are not so keen on, that many of you will not know, was when she called a rosary. Us kids would be driving her mad, and she would tell us, that's it, we're doing a decade of the rosary tonight. So we all had to sit in the lounge, yes, even Jock was not spared, and say the rosary. It was like that part in the Blues Brothers when the nun was there whacking them with the square. Something came over Mum, and if there was any snigger or sound made, she would yell, that's it, another decade. Keep it up, and I'll add another one. Growing up at 256 Buckley Street, we had the best of times as kids. We never had many rules to follow, and we had plenty of freedom. I can remember in the 80s when the WWF wrestling was huge, and us four boys were right into it. We used to push all the furniture back in the lounge and have tag team wrestling matches. Anthony and I were one team called the Aussie Arseholes. Anthony was the dynamite turd and I was the speedy skippy. I can't remember what Justin and Paul called themselves, but we would be in the lounge killing each other. Most parents would be yelling at us boys, telling us to stop. Mum would just walk past, call us idiots and shut the door. Us boys were very close with the Catchell boys, and we were always doing something together. Cricket in the driveway was almost a daily occurrence. I often think how many times we put the ball through the round stained glass lady window. Another one in there. Yeah. Mum would be annoyed with us, but probably more happy we're outside with our friends having fun. During the school holidays, we would always be down at Resurrection School, kicking the footy, playing cricket or something. Again, we would be with the Catchell boys, and sure enough, Mum would be pulling up at lunchtime in the drive at Reza with straws and sauce rolls and milkshakes for us all. Catchell boys could not believe it every time it happened. Mum always got to know all of our friends. Andrew would have her girlfriends over, and they would be there around the kitchen table talking to Mum. There was always an extra body at our house. I can remember the time Andrea met 3 boys from the USA and brought them home for a visit. They stayed for 3 months. They stayed for 3 months after Mum felt sorry for them, as they had no money and nowhere to go. I had no idea where we all slept, because Anthony was the only one that had moved out at that stage. Us boys had the best of the time with them playing basketball, etc. Could you imagine anyone doing that today? Any of our friends that came over always felt welcome. Mum was always asking if they wanted something to eat or did they want to stay for tea. I remember Jane Duggan in particular coming to our house. She would beeline straight for the fridge and say, "Honey Tone, any chocolate biscuits?" It's always funny, we had chocolate biscuits and some goodies in the fridge, but most of it was eaten by outsiders, as none of us were big chocolate eaters. When us kids went out on the weekend, once we were 18, there would almost certainly be extra bodies that slept over. Buckley Street was always close to the Grand, Jimmy Rose and the Cactus, where all of our nieces and nephews would be out on the weekend. Mum would walk into the rooms in the morning, work out what extras were there, and cook breakfast for everyone. Nothing was ever a problem. Everyone was always welcome. I can also recollect once mobile phones came into the scene, call text each other from the other room. "Are you up?" Laura would say yes. "Paul, you want breakfast?" "Yes." So then Paul would text Mum from her bed, from his bed, and get her to bring breakfast in. Absolute promise. Nothing is ever a bother to Mum. I suppose the last part of Mum's tale is the love she has of her grandkids. A tip for you kids, bang off a text every now and then, it makes her day. It takes a bit of heat off us adults. To Noah, it's time to pass on the baton. The day you get your licence, you will be taking the mantle from me as Nanny's IT support. It's a 24-hour service, and she gets quite grumpy if you are not there in under 30 minutes. And now the apple of Mum's eye, Jean. As a parent, you're not supposed to have favourites, but I'm not sure the rule applies for grandparents. You are clearly Mum's favourite, even though she may not admit it.
That's a lie.
During COVID lockdown, it became very difficult to control Mum breaking the rules and keeping her in the house. Thank God for Jeannie, who stayed with her most of the lockdown and kept her under control. Mum, you are 1 in a million. You have always done everything for your kids and guided us into the people we are today. I'm sure us kids have plenty of moments in our lives where you and Dad have been there to lift us up when things were not great. You taught us the value of friendship and always encouraged us to keep those close ties with people in our lives and make the effort to nourish those friendships. Looking around at us kids and grandkids, I know it makes me so proud of what you and Dad have achieved so far with your family, as I know family means a lot to you. So Mum, from all of us here, thank you, we love you, and congratulations on this milestone. We know that you'll be around for many more to come. So raise your glasses and a toast from the
Happy birthday.
sorry. I had a video with some birthday messages from friends and family, but it's too long to play tonight. It's about 45 minutes. So I'll come through tomorrow, so I'll bring it over and we'll play it on the object. Now it's time for your number one red Good job.
Good job, Jaden.
I do, Jamie. She's the old school.
She's the number one.
She's the real number one.
She's the real
Real
number one.
number
She's the real number one. They're all number one.
Hey.
Nanny, we all love you so much. All of your 10 siblings, all 6 kids, and all 15 grandchildren. You're a woman of many wonders. I think we can all agree that something we love you for is your amazing cooking and baking. As a child, I remember walking into your house for a Monday night dinner and smelling your roast wafting through the house. A roast always paired with your perfectly cooked crackle. To top of the evening, your chocolate pudding. My favorite dessert of yours. Nothing, and I mean nothing, quite compares to Nan's hot chocolate pudding with cream and ice cream. And while we're on the topic of desserts, let's not forget your famous caramel slice. A recipe so perfect, it became the talk of my friendship circle. After having had a taste and I brought some to school. They were so desperate to know how you had made the caramel slices and begged that I bring it to every birthday party. But of course, I never gave up your secret recipe, and to this day, the girls can't quite replicate it. Another wonder of yours is your impeccable fashion sense. I gotta hand it to you, Nan, for aiding you looking pretty good. You always look $1 million with your nice clothes and jewelry, and your hair that you make sure to get blow away every weekend at the Buckley Street hair salon. To this day, I've only seen Nan's hair curly once. I'll never forget Grandparents' Day at primary school. Majority of the kids had their grandmothers come in dressed in quite conservative, modest outfits. But no, not my Nan. She walked in with her massive fur coat, her rabbit fur scarf, and her leather gloves. Without a doubt, outshining all the other grandmas. I've never had that many people come up to me and say, "Wow, your Nan's so cool." This love of fashion is something we get to exploit during shopping trips. Nan, what's the limit? I made sure to save for every massive splurge because I definitely wasn't going to stop until Nan said no. Nan then proceeded to tell every store employee that I was draining out her pension money. But at least I got a cute pair of shoes. Nan, another thing we love you for is your bad hearing. I've never seen a hearing aid so high-tech. Hearing you take calls through your hearing aid is not only cool, but super confusing. When midway through a conversation, you just start saying random things, only for me to realize you're actually on a call with one of your sisters. When Nan visits, she also likes to strategically scratch your ear midway through the conversation. I figured out that she's actually just turning off her hearing aids because apparently we're just a bit too rowdy. Nan, you're an amazing grandmother. You spoil us all and inspire us every day. You are a loving lady that does whatever you can for the people around you, and you love to share your passion for us all. Happy birthday, Nan.